Have you ever noticed how a cat seems to look at you through the soul, as if I knew something you do not know? Carl Jung did not consider this a coincidence. For him, the cats that appear in our dreams, and even those who cross our path in reality, are much more than simple animals. They are living symbols, direct messengers of our unconscious, carrying crucial information about parts of ourselves that we keep hidden in the shadow. When Jung analyzed the dreams of his patients, he frequently found cats representing repressed aspects of personality, those parts of us that we deny, reject, or simply cannot see. The cat, with its independent and mysterious nature, becomes the perfect bearer of these hidden truths. What this even more fascinating perspective does is how Jung understood communication between the conscious and the unconscious. He knew that our psyche is constantly trying to send us messages, seeking balance and integration. When these messages are not recognized internally, when we ignore the whispers of our soul, the unconscious looks for ways to manifest externally. This is where the cat enters as a powerful symbol. Its appearance, either in dreams or in real life, it can be a desperate attempt of ourself to alert us about something that needs to be seen, meaning and integrated. Jung observed that many times his patients related significant encounters with cats at times of great psychic transformation, as if these animals were attracted by people in the process of individuation. The universal symbology of the cat is going through cultures and millennia, always connected to the mystery, independence, and the ability to travel between visible and invisible worlds. Jung recognized that this archetypal consistency was not accidental, reflected a deep truth about the nature of the human psyche. The cat represents our innate ability to navigate between light and shadow, between the known and the unknown. When you feel attracted to a cat, or when a cat seems inexplicably attracted to you, Jung would suggest that something in your psyche is asking for attention. Perhaps it is your repressed intuition, your denied sensitivity, or aspects of your personality that you learn to hide to adapt to the person's social expectations. For Jung, cats are living manifestations of ancient archetypes residing in the collective unconscious of humanity. These are not simply abstract concepts floating in the psychic ether. They are primary forces that have shaped human experience. For millennia, the archetype of the cat holds itself the essence of the indomitable, the mysterious, which cannot be fully possessed or controlled by the ego. When a cat enters your life, Jung would say that you are being visited by an archetypal energy that seeks to awaken something ancestral in your soul. It is as if the collective unconscious was sending you a reminder that there are parts of you that belong to the kingdom of the wild, the authentic, not domesticated by social conventions. The various cultural interpretations of cats throughout history, revered in ancient Egypt, feared in medieval Europe, considered protectors in many traditions, reflect the complexity of the archetype they represent. Jung understood that these cultural variations were not contradictory, but revealed different facets of the same archetypal nucleus. The cat can be simultaneously guardian and destroyer, healer and sorcerer, partner and be completely independent. This paradox is precisely what makes it such a powerful symbol of the individual process, that path to the whole that requires that we embrace our internal contradictions instead of artificially solving them. The presence of a cat in your life may indicate that specific parts of yourself need to be integrated, especially those related to intuition, sensitivity, and connection with the invisible. Jung observed that many people who had lost contact with their instinctive nature, who had overcome their rational function at the expense of their intuitive wisdom, were often attracted to cats. It is as if these animals serve as living bridges towards aspects of the psyche that had been abandoned in the social adaptation process. The cat does not judge your excessive rationality. It simply exists in its instinctive fullness, reminding you that there are other ways of knowing and being in the world. Jung had a phrase that deeply resonated with this understanding: where there is a cat, there is threshold. With this, it referred to the fact that the feline presence marks a liminal point, a space between worlds where the visible and the invisible are found. When you begin to perceive cats from this archetypal perspective, each interaction becomes an opportunity to cross internal thresholds, to access deeper layers of your own nature that you may have forgotten or denied. The cat becomes your guide to unexplored territories of your own soul. The first revelation that Jung shared about cats was his role as representatives of the active shadow. Unlike other symbols that remain static, cats dynamically embody our repressed parts, those fears, blame, traumas, and personality aspects that we have pushed towards the depths of the unconscious. Jung observed that the unusual behavior of a cat frequently mirrored areas of the psyche of its owner who needed urgent attention. If your cat becomes aggressive without apparent reason, Jung would suggest examining what repressed anger you could be loading. If it is constantly hidden, it could be reflecting your own tendency to avoid confronting uncomfortable truths. This is not a simple projection. It is a deep synchronicity where the animal becomes a living mirror of your internal psychic state. The second revelation focuses on the cat as a living channel of deep intuition. Jung understood that not being governed by the limitations of the human ego, cats maintain a direct connection with the essential. They possess what he called a sensitive consciousness, an ability to perceive energy and emotional subtleties that completely escape our rational mind. When a cat approaches you in times of pain, or when you avoid certain people or places, Jung would interpret it as valuable information of the energy field that your conscious mind cannot process. Cats operate from a level of perception that transcends logical thinking, connecting directly to that instinctive wisdom that Jung considered fundamental to the individual process. The third, and perhaps more surprising revelation of Jung, was about the snoring as a frequency of psychic cure. He saw this unique sound not as a simple sign of contentment, but as a vibration capable of creating bridges between the mind and the soul, restoring the balance in the nervous system and the psyche. Jung had observed that patients who spent time with cats that were reached showed a remarkable improvement in their ability to access meditative states and deep introspection. The frequency of the snore, that ranges between 25 and 150 Hz, has a verbally soothing and regenerating effect. But Jung went further. He believed that this vibration could literally refine the human psyche, as if it were a fingerboard that helped us find our natural frequency of well-being and see our connection with the self. These three revelations are intertwined to form a holistic understanding of the cat as an ally in the individuation process. They are not simply pets or companions. They are active facilitators of our psychic growth, mirrors of our shadow, intuition channels, and vibrating healers. Jung suggested that when we began to relate to cats from this deeper perspective, we opened doors to aspects of ourselves that had remained closed, starting an authentic dialogue between our conscious ego and the wisest forces of our unconscious. The first practical recommendation that Jung would offer is to observe the cat as a projection of the unconscious. This means developing a new form of perception where cat's behavior becomes a symbolic text that you can read to understand your own emotional, mental, and spiritual state. When your cat behaves unusually, either hiding, being excessively affectionate, or showing aggressiveness, Jung would invite you to ask you, what part of me is being reflected here? If the cat avoids some room of the house, consider what energies or memories could be concentrated in that space. If you constantly seek your attention, examine what aspects of yourself could be asking for recognition. This practice transforms each interaction with your cat into an opportunity for deep self-knowledge. The second recommendation is to create a registration of symbolic behaviors. Jung was a firm believer in the importance of documenting the patterns of the unconscious, and this extends to cats related to cats. Keep a diary where you write down not only your cat's unusual behavior, but also the circumstances of your life. When these behaviors occur, does your cat become more affectionate when you are going through moments of emotional loneliness? Do stray cats appear in your life during periods of important transition? Do you dream of cats before making significant decisions? Jung discovered that these patterns, when they are consistently documented, reveal an organizing intelligence of the unconscious that is constantly working to guide you towards individuation. The third practical recommendation is to treat the cat with symbolic respect. This goes beyond basic care. It implies honoring the presence of the cat as a partner in your individuation process. Jung would suggest creating simple rituals that recognize this sacred dimension. Moments of shared silence where you simply observe the cat without agenda, allowing its presence to connect to your own center. When you feed the cat, do it with full awareness, recognizing that you are nourishing not only an animal, but to a symbolic aspect of your own instinctive nature. When the cat reigns in your presence, allow you to consciously receive that healing vibration, using those moments as opportunities for meditation and connection with yourself. These practices are not superstitions. They are concrete ways to activate what Jung called the transcendent function, that ability of the psyche to create bridges between the conscious and the unconscious. By relating to your cat from this symbolic perspective, you are training your ability to perceive the subtle messages that your soul constantly sends you. You are learning to read the symbolic language of your own psyche, using the cat as your teacher and translator in this process of awakening to the deepest dimensions of your being. The arrival of a cat in your life is rarely an accident from the Jungian perspective. It is what Jung would call synchronicity, a significant event that occurs precisely when your soul is prepared for a new perception or transformation. Jung understood that the universe operates according to principles of meaning, not only of causality, and that certain meetings are orchestrated by what he called the self, that deepest organizing instance of the psyche that constantly seeks to lead us to the whole. When a cat appears in your life, whether you adopt it consciously that it arrives as a treat, or that you simply begin to notice cats in an unusual way, Jung would interpret it as a sign that your unconscious is ready to reveal something important about your most authentic nature. The cat acts as a mirror of the soul, reflecting not only your superficial emotions, but the deepest currents of your psyche that frequently remain hidden even for yourself. Jung observed that cats have an extraordinary ability to tune in with people's repressed emotional states, those feelings that we have learned to deny or minimize to function in society. If you charge unprocessed sadness, the cat can become unusually protective or affectionate. If you have repressed anger, you can show aggressive behaviors that force you to confront that energy in yourself. If you have lost the connection with your intuition, the cat can begin to behave in ways that challenge your logic, forcing you to develop other forms of understanding. This mirror is not passive. It is an active revelation process that can be deeply transformative if you learn to read it correctly. The deepest dimension of this understanding is to recognize that the cat can serve as a form of guidance, protection, and cure in your day of individuation. Jung believed that certain animals, especially cats, could function as what he called animals of power, beings that carry specific archetypal energies necessary for our psychic growth. A cat can appear in your life when you need to develop more emotional independence, when you need to reconnect with your instinctive nature, or when your soul is asking for more mystery and magic in an existence that has become too rational and predictable. The presence of the cat invites you to explore territories of your psyche that you had kept unexplored, to embrace aspects of yourself that are indomitable and impossible to completely categorize. The central message that Jung would leave us is deeply liberating. Everything that manifests externally seeks to reveal something that already exists within us. The cat in your life is not a coincidence. It is an external manifestation of internal energies that are ready to be recognized, integrated, and expressed. When you start seeing cats from this perspective, each slice becomes an invitation to inner peace. Each feline look in an opportunity to be reflected in a mirror that does not judge, and every moment of Gatuna independence in a reminder that you also have the right and the ability to be authentically who you are, without apologies or explanations. This is the true magic of the Jungian vision, to transform the ordinary into extraordinary, the casual into significant, and the external on a path to internal wisdom. What Carl Jung revealed to us about cats transcends any superficial interpretation. He opened a window towards a deep understanding of how the universe conspires to help us in our individuation process. Each slice, every feline look, every cat synchronicity is an invitation from your deepest self to wake up dimensions of your being that you had kept asleep. Jung taught us that we are not victims of circumstances, but co-crest conscious of a symbolic reality where each encounter has the potential to transform us. The cats did not reach your life by chance. They arrived because your soul was ready to receive their teachings on authentic independence, deep intuition, and the ability to navigate between visible and invisible worlds. Now I want to listen to you, dear seeker of truth. What of this exploration about the Jungian vision of the cats more resounded with you? Have you noticed synchronicities with cats in your own self-knowledge day? How is your individuation process manifesting through these feline encounters? Share your experience in comments. Your story not only matters, but it can be the light that another soul needs to understand its own path. Jung knew that we heal in community, that our individual revelations become collective medicine when we share them with courage and authenticity. If this content aroused something deep in you, if you felt that someone finally puts words to experiences that you thought inexplicable, then you know that you have found your tribe. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because this is a sacred space for deep thinkers, for soul seekers, for those who are tired of pretending that the surface of life is sufficient. Here we explore the mysteries of the human psyche with the depth you deserve, using Jung's wisdom as our compass towards authenticity. Like this video if you feel that you need more content that honors the complexity of your inner day, and share it with someone you know that you are ready for these truths. Remember, you are not broken, you are waking up. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, it is your superpower. And that inexplicable connection you feel with cats is no accident. It is your soul recognizing its allies on the road to the whole. Until the next encounter, and never forget that your inner light is exactly what this world needs.